I'm often talking about extreme weather events across the country. It seems like increasingly more than ever before. Well, the latest State of the Climate report confirms that more of these extremes are happening. Dr. Jaci from the CSIRO helped produce the report with the Bureau of Meteorology. She joins me now in the studio. A very good morning to you, Jaci. I wish we could be here under better circumstances, but this year's report doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't, Nate. So as you said, this is the 8th in a series of the report, but the important thing is that every time we put this report out, the message is the same. Climate change is happening, but every 2 years it's just getting a little more extreme.
What is that extreme as it stands right now in 2024?
Well, Australia has warmed 1.5 degrees. Now, 1.5 degrees, you think, oh, maybe that's just a little bit warmer, but it's all the nuances around that. So for Australia, the warmest year was 2019. 2023 was the warmest on record globally. But for Australia, warm conditions mean bushfires. So more fire weather days leading up to now, and there'll be even more into the future.
Now, in the report, you also talk about the declining rainfall in the south of the country. It's really becoming quite marked.
Yes, so we've had a decrease in rainfall in the southwest corner of Australia and also the southeast. Through the north, rainfall is increasing. But interestingly, even though the rainfall is decreasing, when we do get heavy rainfall, that rainfall is becoming more intense, so around 10% heavier. So you've got to plan for both scenarios in your life.
Right, so it's drier most of the time, but then when it rains,
it buckets down. Yeah.
The focus isn't just on air temperature, but let's stick with that for now. What other effects are we seeing from that around the country, especially in terms of extreme weather?
So heat waves in the atmosphere and in the ocean. So we know about heat waves, we know what they're like, we've been getting more of them, they'll become longer into the future. But worryingly, what happens overnight? It's the nighttime temperatures that help you cool down. We won't be seeing that drop as much, and even our winters will be a little bit warmer. Marine heat waves in the ocean are also a concern. They're getting more frequent and more intense since 1970. That's putting a lot of pressure onto our coral reefs. We've had 5 bleaching events in the last 10 years.
Of course, for the oceans, the acidification from the increased CO2 is also another pressure. What does this mean for how the future's going to look for Australia?
A good way to think about the future is to look at what's happening now. So we're looking at bushfires, heat waves, intense rainfall. That's going to continue into the future but become more extreme. And something that really worries me is if you increase the intensity and frequency, they'll be happening closer together. So are we resilient enough to have a bushfire followed by a flood? How are we going to plan for that?
That's, I guess, not just a question for governments, but also for individuals.
So I'd encourage people to take a look at the report and have a think, what does it mean for you? What does it mean for your house if we have that intense rainfall? Are you prepared for the heat waves? What does it mean for your business? This report is for everyone. Everyone is affected by climate change.
16 years of this report, so 8 reports, once every 2 years. Do you feel like you're banging your head against the wall a bit?
You know, some days are like that, but what I find really encouraging is when we first started doing the State of the Climate reports, the sort of questions you get is, well, is climate change real? We don't get those questions anymore. People understand it's real, they're feeling it now, and they want to know what they can do about it.
Your one bit of advice for people listening and thinking, oh God, another report, nothing's changing.
We need to make a decision. So we must stabilise the climate. And that means getting to net zero. When we get to net zero, it decides how warm it's going to be. We're in charge of making that decision, and we need to take that very seriously.